Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is September 6th, 2019. This is a special video because silver has had a very strong pullback recently. It's down almost $1.75 here in just the last 48 hours, and I want to take a look at this. So special video coming out on this Friday so we can have a look at this for over the weekend and get prepared for next week. Thank you once again for being here. I'm glad that you're here. And I honor you, and it's good to be covering these markets together. Let's look at the gold price over the last 2 days. So this blue line was the line on Wednesday, Thursday, and then today we have. And so gold is down about $50 in the last 2 days. That's pretty significant. But in percentage terms, when we switch over and we look at silver, we can see silver down almost $1.75 here. I mean, that's close to a 9% pullback in 2 days from the recent peaks here in the upper 19 region. It looked like silver was just going to keep blasting higher, and then of course all of a sudden has this major correction. And isn't that what markets tend to do? They tend to fool us when they look just the strongest. They have these major corrections. And so why this is a special video is because I actually want to pause here and show you a clip from one of our premium subscriber videos that literally went out 2 days ago. It went out on Wednesday night when we were right here in the upper 19s in the silver market. I want to show you that because I truly believe that this type of technical work that we do, where we evaluate the markets, we understand the fundamentals. We understand that there's manipulation in these markets. We understand all the forces that are going on behind the scenes. And we also say, so therefore, shouldn't we try to make some high probability assessments? For example, would it not have been better to buy silver today in the low 1800s than here in the mid to upper 1900s? And even if you're only buying the physical, right? Let's say you were buying 100 ounces of silver a couple days ago, you could have got that exact same silver for about $1.50 cheaper per ounce today. And okay, even if the premiums have come up a little bit, you still would have gotten that silver significantly cheaper, even in the physical market. And then, of course, if you're talking about trading, talking about trading in the paper or investing in the mining sector, some of these miners are down 10% in 2 days. 10%. So wouldn't it have been better to buy after a 10% discount than, that short-term peak? And so I want to show you here for free. I'm going to give you a little snippet of this premium update that went out just 2 days ago. This is in our archives. You can verify this in the members section. I want to show you that, and then after a few minutes of the rewind, we will fast forward and look at where we are for silver right now, what to expect going forward, because I do think this type of analysis is useful, and here's the proof. Hello there, this is Christopher Aaron. This is a special flash update for premium subscribers of Precious Metals Intelligence. We usually do these video updates once per month, but as I said, this is a special update. There have been some strong moves in the markets recently. I want to show you exactly what I am seeing here in the gold and silver markets. Now let's switch over. Now we have not actually looked at this comparison in the past in such a direct way. We've looked at this from time to time over short scales, but I want to look at the major time frame now, going back late 2015 through the present. Exact same comparison. It's actually even more dramatic here when we look at silver bullion on the bottom and the silver mining complex here on the top. Okay, now keep in mind, so silver had moved from $13.65 up to $21.25. Then we had the 3-year declining bear market here. We finally broke, remember, we broke this turquoise color here. We broke at $16.10. We broke that. That was just 2 months ago. And now we're back into the 19s here today, closing at 1955. Now, look at where we are in the price of silver, right? Relatively speaking, we're coming back to some of these peaks, not quite the exact peak, but 1955 into some of the later stages of the peaks here in 2016, right? So just follow the mouse up and look at where we were in 2016, the later stages of these peaks in 2016 for the silver mining complex, and you can see there is a major discrepancy here. It's even more significant than with the gold mining complex. We look at this major discrepancy where the silver miners are relative to where the price of the product that they produce is. And we can see, from right here at closing just above 32 on the silver mining complex, the silver miners would need to be about 50%, 50% higher, up here into the mid to upper 40s to match, relatively speaking, where the price of silver bullion is. So if you're heavily invested in the silver miners, imagine if you could add a 50% at this point to every single holding that you own, whether it's the majors like Pan American Silver, or whether it's Silver Wheaton, it's changed the name to Wheaton Precious Metals, or whether you're in the SIL fund like we are here. I mean, imagine if these were 50% higher. We're talking into the mid to upper 40s. This is where they should be. So if you ask me what's happening here with this extreme underperformance, the silver miners, they simply don't believe this last few dollars. I mean, this basically vertical move here, when we've gone from the mid 16s, upper 16s, now to the mid 19s. Just here in the last week and a half, they're basically not believing this move. Now, let's just zoom in and look at the last 6 months here or so on the price of silver, and we can see how dramatic this is. Now, we're showing here, this is from the recent low in the low 14s, and we can see the beginning of a rising trend here that was developing out of that. And then we can see here in the teal color, right, this teal over here, this short-term trend, even more aggressive, right? Now, this was getting very aggressive. And look what's happened here. We've gotten this almost near vertical type of move here on the price of silver that has just developed really over the last 2 weeks. And what I'm saying, guys, is this type of move here, this almost vertical type of move, this is not sustainable. That should be clear. If we were to extrapolate this trend, this little blue, this very thin blue trend line here, upward and outward, we would be at $50 silver by the very early part of next year. We're talking only about 4 months from now. So, I mean, can you imagine if we move from $19.50 up to $50 just in the next few months? So obviously, this trend is not going to stay. Silver is not going to continue moving vertically. We just looked at the silver miners, how they're not pricing in anything here above this $17 level. And then we see this vertical move in the price of silver. We see the gold miners that are at that major multi-year resistance. So there's a lot of things coming together here that are telling me that this move is most likely going to give back a significant portion of the recent advance here. Now, we'll look at some good news in a moment. This is not all just negative news, but I'm talking short run. Okay, next couple of weeks to 1 or 2 months, I strongly suspect that maybe there's one final thrust here that this market can give, and then there's going to be a significant decline, which is going to be scary over the short run, but I think this is actually going to be the most healthy scenario when we come back and we look at the support levels here. I'll just tell you, there's not a whole lot of support here in silver until we get back down into this mid-17 level. Okay, this level here, we can talk about this consolidation here that happened between late July and the middle of August. In the upper region of this consolidation, the black for horizontal support is really the first observable support level here. You need to see this kind of consolidation. You need to see this sort of back and forth to tell you that there was sufficient buying in this level that if we come back to that level, there should be second chance buying coming in here. When we just see a market moving almost vertically and then a couple days here of consolidation and then vertically again, it's telling you that if this market tops, it should move down just as quickly as it rose because there wasn't sufficient consolidation for a lot of these near vertical moves here recently. So I would be looking for the market to come back down into the 17s. I think this is going to represent an excellent, and maybe it's not 17s, maybe it's the low 18s, right? We're giving probabilities here at this point, but there should be a healthy correction here coming in silver. And I think this is going to represent an excellent opportunity to get back into some of those silver mining funds, to add to the exposure in silver mining, and to look at some of these undervalued companies. Because then I think this market's going to start to round up again in a more healthy kind of way, right? Not the exact vertical kind of way, but a market that would have a much more gentle but sustainable kind of slope to it. And I'll tell you what I'm looking at right now, just to give you a heads up. There are some silver miners that are being completely overlooked by the market. We looked at the silver mining fund, and they're really lagging the price of silver. But there are some silver miners out there that are sitting on silver deposits that I'm eyeballing at this moment, and they're just being completely overlooked by the market. And those are the ones, when we get this pullback, these are the ones that I am looking to load the boat on. So that was the expectation from that clip in the premium member video. The expectation was for silver to pull back hard. We saw that almost vertical trend line forming, accelerating off of some more conservative trend lines. We saw that resistance in the silver miners, and we had that expectation for silver. So let's see how it played out, right? Okay, so sure enough, we've had this pullback now down after the last 2 days, $1.75. So where are we now? We're approaching this teal color, this support, this more aggressive support trend here rising, which if it was to be hit right now would come in the mid 17s. So we're not quite there yet. And my best expectation, though, is that we will get a little bit of a bounce here over the next 1 to 3 days, and that into next week we will continue lower, because I still think this trend line is too steep to last indefinitely into the future. The phrase, the steeper the trend, the more likely the break, is very applicable here. So I think we will come down, and then we look for some more significant support here in the low 17 range. So I would say if you're getting ready to make some purchases, or you're thinking about getting back into the silver miners, I would wait for a high probability here in the low 17s. Could even go a little bit lower, but I'm going to be looking in the low 17s. We'll look for some stabilization on this support level here, and then we will look for this market to round back out. That could coincide with matching from the original trend all the way back from that May bottom. Okay, so that would be really nice if all those trends match up together. So what I'm showing you guys here is the power of technical analysis. Now, first thing, look, make sure you hit the subscribe button, that big red subscribe button on the lower left, so that you will see these videos when they come out. Now, secondly, of course, we cannot get 100% of anything right. If anyone is ever coming out and saying that they are going to get 100% every single twist and turn right, that's a bunch of hogwash. You know it. I'm saying it right here. Even myself, we cannot get everything right here, okay? But we can get some very important turning points correct. And if you are investing, especially heavily in these metals, if you're trying to time your purchases, if you're going to be buying the silver miners, which have fallen by about 10% over the last 2 days alone, would it not have been better to buy those miners today or on Monday than on Wednesday? That's what I'm saying. That is the power of this. That is why I do offer this as a premium service. And this, as I said, that clip that you saw went out as a flash update in a members only video 2 days ago. So you had just enough time to take some action on Thursday morning before this thing got ugly, or at least to wait. Sometimes waiting is the best strategy and not going all in at a particular moment. So this includes member only videos, the exact miners that we are investing in. And like I said, I am looking at this pullback to add some very significant mining exposure. There are some silver miners that are really being overlooked, and I think the time to do that is going to be coming here into the next couple of weeks. I also work with individuals on a one-on-one basis. I just wanted to let you know, if you're looking for someone who is independent, who does not take any fees from any of the dealerships or any of the ETFs or any of the mining companies. I am solely dedicated to helping individual investors. And we do that by phone. We do that by email. I simply look out for your best interests. Some people we speak once for half an hour and we never talk again. We come up with a good strategy. Other people we talk once a month. We update their portfolio. We take a look at it. We review their holdings. It depends on what you need. Just know that I am here for you. Last but certainly not least, thank you to those who are supporting these free videos on Patreon. Your support means very, very much to me. So let's look for that pullback in silver. I think after a little bit of a relief rally, this has been a rather impulsive decline here. If you think about it, we've wiped out about 2.5 weeks of gains in just 2 days. That looks rather impulsive to me, so I don't think that's over. Let's be careful still over the next week.